just how it's structured and allows us to have an oversight of exactly what's going on with our clients at all times is perfect, because it takes us what used to take us maybe 2 hours, it takes us probably 10 minutes now in terms of checking client health. We're able to easily go in, see our client KPIs, see where we need to improve. We have weekly meetings on a Monday to run through everything. Very clear actionables. We've got all the data there. So yeah, I think probably I would say just having the single source of truth has been the biggest biggest impact for me, to be honest.
We are here with Ciaran from Saturn Media. Ciaran, give us a little rundown on who you are and what Saturn Media is, and we will just take it from there. Lickety split.
Perfect, man. So yeah, I'm Ciaran. I run Saturn Media. We're a Google Ads agency. We work with business to business and software companies. Within that, also somewhat B2C companies, but exclusively focusing on software, business to business services, and all of that sort of things. The only channel that we run is Google Ads. We do some landing pages and YouTube. So before I got involved with the OpsKings, everything was all around everywhere. We were operating on Google Sheets, Slack, ClickUp. It was a total fucking mess, to be honest, because we've been quite fortunate in a sense that we get great results for our clients. We have to deal with quite a steady stream of onboarding month on month, which I had to deal with myself personally, sending the contracts, creating the Slack, getting everybody. So yeah, since working with the OpsKings, we've managed to streamline our entire onboarding system. So it's extremely simple. As soon as we close the deal, I fill out a form and everything's all taken care of, which is honestly, since working with you guys, I think we've had probably our most successful months in business. We kicked off in August, didn't we? I think.
Yeah, I think right
Yeah,
around end of summer.
Yeah, end of summer. So then September was probably our biggest month, taking on 7 new clients. October was probably around 5, 6 in November. December was another 5. January 5. So we're already at 1 or 2 for this month already. So I think if I was going to quantify in terms of numbers, like a number of hours that you guys have saved me, it's probably at least 100 hours in terms of onboarding and getting shit together. So it's allowed us to scale up pretty quickly, because all of our systems centralized now. We know exactly what's going on with every client. Every client has the same service from the beginning. So there's no sort of time lag, which is super important. So as soon as they join, they're booking in the onboarding. I don't need to coordinate with things. So yeah, been able to scale quite a lot since working with you guys. So yeah, it's allowed us to focus more on the delivery side of things, less around the admin and making sure that everybody knows what they're doing. So as a result of that, I think pretty much every single one of our clients has seen an increase in results. Everybody who signs on, we're able to get them results quicker because there's less of the noise surrounding everything. Basically, we're just able to put them into our system, and it just flies.
Love it. Actually, one thing I'm curious about, right? Because we sometimes have companies that come to us and are like, "Oh, I want to digitize and automate everything," and we're like, "Okay, like you could just not do that." So, what was it that for you? You got there was a very measurable business result. There's probably lots of people that are in your space that look up to you. You've got quite an audience on Twitter, I know. What was it about you or your thinking that made you think this is not just a nice to have, but there's a real business need? And how did you quantify for yourself that there was an actual need here versus just effectively building something that's a very expensive toy or like a flashy toy?
Yeah, everyone kind of wants an onboarding automation. Everyone kind of wants automations because everyone knows, you could have them, you could automate.
There's lots of business owners that are just lazy. They're like, I onboard one client a month, and you're like, I did. So yeah, what was it about your thinking? What was the the problem that you were experiencing that made you realize like this is actually going to be, we're not Upwork freelancers, right? We don't charge $50 for some random thing that is a accessory. What was it about your thinking that made you think that, or realize this was actually an investment that you wanted to get done?
Oh, there was a lot leading up to it, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I think partly because with Google Ads, you've got so many different data points. You've got a number when you're operating at the scale that we're operating at now. Is we've got a number of different clients with a number of different deliverables. So straight from the beginning, you've got onboarding. Within onboarding, you've got probably 10 different stages within onboarding, and within those 10 different stages, you've got 10 different things. So the way that we were managing things before with ClickUp, Google Sheets, and with Slack, we would often find that A, things would take too long, B, things could get missed, and C, there was just a bit of, I'd say there was a level of anxiety whenever we onboarded somebody, or if we onboarded two people at once, for example, because it's a case of what is everybody doing. So what made me realize that I needed to work with you guys was I needed a place where I could store everything, like what you guys say, like a source of truth, where all of our clients' information goes into. They all follow the same standardized process to a degree. There's obviously things, different variables near when you're live, but they still follow the same sort of process. So then it was a case of just being able to understand. For us as a business, in order to scale, we needed to get everything in one place and stop relying on sort of systems where whenever we close a client, for example, I'd have to then go create all the tasks, invite everybody. There's Google Sheets here, Google Sheets there. Everybody's working with different things. We would have to rely heavily on communication on Slack in terms of what's everybody doing, where are we with this project, when is this campaign launching, for example. So we were probably working 2 times harder than we should do just because of the admin of trying to keep up with what we need to be delivering. So yeah, just having a system in place where all our clients basically live, and we know exactly what deliverables we've got to do, how we can do it, and sort of how long it takes, and being able to keep ourselves accountable and give updates. So yeah, it was basically that. It was dealing with clients at scale, basically.
You felt like, was it true that you felt like, hey, capacity is now becoming a problem? Like, I'm not comfortable signing on 5 clients and having the confidence of delivering good work to them. That was like a very tangible sort of like business reason. Okay, this is something that we need to fix.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We wouldn't be able to take on clients as we are if we didn't have these systems in place. Because yeah, it was super time intensive, and also there was no sort of logic. There was logic. It was all stored basically in my head, so everything was relying on me. So if my team needed to jump in and do anything, it had to go through me. So um, I was a bottleneck at times. If I was on meetings, if I was on this, they didn't have the right accesses. So yeah, basically just dealing with clients, onboarding clients, and being able to keep a level of consistency was a big driver.
No, love it. One of the things you mentioned is oftentimes you felt like everything was inside of your head, and then obviously a big part of our process at the beginning is the company brain and the forcing function of getting stuff outside of the sort of founder's head or the manager's head. So how did you find that process of the company brain, and how did it help you?
The company brain was super good, honestly. So being able to, I would say my head was just filled with everything that we needed to do, but with no logical order. So I knew what needed to be done, but it was super inefficient. So what the company brain basically allowed me to do was zoom out and see parts of the business that obviously the order that we need to do things, but since we've actually mapped that out and implemented it into Airtable, has allowed me to look at certain processes and think, do we actually need that? It's not actually critical. So not only has it helped me to see what needs to be done, it's helped me save time by cutting out unnecessary steps or bundling steps together, or yeah, streamlining things. So I think the whole process of actually getting all of that out of my head was impressive because yeah, I tried so many times putting pen to paper and just figuring out the processes, but just couldn't get it in the right sort of shape.
No, makes perfect sense. We've seen it before.
Yeah,
So
it's like we
um,
know.
now one of the questions that I always like to ask is, we've done a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is kind of boring stuff on the back end that you don't necessarily see, how we structure the data, how we structure the database, how we structure the different entities in the business. But one thing that I like to ask, what has personally been some of the most fun slash favorite automations, like features we've actually built that are now you're just, if someone turned them off, you would be annoyed, to say the least, if someone did that.
So I think personally we've got there's quite a few actually that I think is unreal. I love the onboarding flow, to be honest, the adding the client, and it's just automatically everything's updated. Everybody's got the same drive. They come into my client view and it all looks the exact sort of same. I also like the we've got the Google Ads data pool where it pulls the experiments and everything into our Airtable, so we're able to see very quickly the experiments that are going on and track measurables over time with all the Google Ads data as well, the recurring tasks. I think pretty much everything, to be quite honest with you. I think just how it's structured and allows us to have an oversight of exactly what's going on with our clients at all times is perfect, because it takes us what used to take us maybe 2 hours, it takes us probably 10 minutes now in terms of checking client health. We're able to easily go in, see our client KPIs, see where we need to improve. We have weekly meetings on a Monday to run through everything. Very clear actionables. We've got all the data there. So yeah, I think probably I would say just having the single source of truth has been the biggest impact for me, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. um Question for, or basically, what would you say to anyone that's, running a business similar to yours, or running any sort of business who's potentially thinking about working with us? They're kind of on the line on should they reach out or not. What would be something you'd tell this person?
I'll just say definitely reach out, have a chat, see how they can help, because you'd be surprised about, you could think you've got really good operations running on ClickUp or however you're operating, but there's at least 3 or 4 or even north of that ways that can be improved within the first couple of months. So I would say if anybody's thinking about it, just give them a shout, because yeah, you guys have saved me a ton of time.
No, love to hear that. Ryan, anything on your end?
No, I mean, I guess one thing I'm curious about is was there anything you were initially worried about when you were thinking of hiring us? Like, oh, what if I can do it faster with some Upwork freelancer? Are these guys really qualified? Will my team hate it? Was there anything that you were, because like there's a lot of people. I think the argument can be made for every single business owner would want some form of faster operations, right?
Mm.
But there's also the business owner psychology of like, is it, well, first off, is it really worth it is one conversation, but there's also like, is my team going to hate it? Will this be so dramatically different that nobody will understand how to use our new system because they're so used to the ClickUp way, and maybe no other way will even be possible to do? How will a company that doesn't do Google Ads understand the operations of a Google Ads company?
Mm.
And so,
Yeah.
was there anything like for you that you think was going through your head? And the reason I bring that up is, selfishly, there's people out there that are worrying with the same thing right now, but also it's helpful for us to understand what the pieces we're not hitting properly yet.
No, so I mean, I had zero concerns, and part of the reason for that is because I've followed you guys on X for quite some time. I know how you guys operate. But then, as well as that, I have gone for the cheaper alternative, and I think this is probably useful for you to say to some people. I've gone for the cheaper alternatives before, and what's just happened is, not only have I ended up spending money on trying to get systems that aren't suitable, then you have the opportunity cost of, had you gone with you guys in the first place, you'd probably be a couple of months ahead than you would have been when you made that initial small investment to a cheaper alternative. So the other thing was as well, and actually was, how could how quickly could they understand the nuances of Google Ads and how that sort of works. But you guys picked up straight away. Stephen just basically picked up everything around Google Ads straight away within the first month of us working together, all the metrics, everything that's important. So it was yeah, there's pretty much no friction for me because I'd already been through that experience with having gone different routes before. But yeah, it's for me it was a no-brainer, to be quite honest.
No,
Cool.
awesome.
Love it.
That's great to hear. Obviously, you mentioned Steven. There was not only Steven but other team members working with you. Me and Ryan were taking a back step on helping them out. But what was your experience working with the team?
Yeah, amazing, man. Any sort of questions that I had were answered straight away. The calls were very useful. The looms were very useful. I've got the looms actually in our Airtable under specific sections. So where we've got the interfaces built, I've put the looms that you guys made just so everybody can see them. Any of my requests, because I did have quite a lot of ideas as well. And what I thought was particularly good as well is that if the ideas were probably not suitable for that moment in time, that your team were very quick to say
That's a
that.
very friendly way of saying. It's a very friendly way of saying it.
Yeah, they would
Yeah, love
say
it.
no, listen, you don't need that just yet. So very quick to basically put my ideas on the shelf that I thought I would need or are nice to have, and focus on actually getting the core structure. So no, working with the team, updates were good. No complaints at all.
Awesome. I'm sure the team is glad to hear that. Well, that's it. We're glad you're now scaling. Obviously, enjoying beautiful weather in Cape Town that we're not. But love that you continue to scale. My question for you, finally, and we can wrap with this, is what's the goal for 2025? How much you're growing? Is it 2, 3, 5x? Where are we going from here?
Looking for 3x this year,
There we go.
conservatively 3x, hopefully 5. And
There we go.
I'll be needing your guys' assistance very soon. I'm thinking probably April. I'll be back on board.
No, that's great to hear. Awesome. That's it for the interview. Thanks for taking the time, and we'll talk again. Hopefully when you triple from here.
Triple Saturn Media round 2.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.